Are you looking for a fun way to add some festive flair to your backyard this summer? These patriotic paper lanterns are a great way to add a magical glow to your summer barbecues and July 4th celebrations. With the SVG and printable package available through playdatesparties.com, you can create an amazing atmosphere for any event, especially when the sun goes down. Join me in the Playdates to Parties craft room as we make these easy patriotic paper lanterns.
Okay, so for today's project, you're going to need a light grip cutting mat, red and blue cardstock, either in 12 by 12, which is what I'm using today, or you can also do this in 8.5 by 11. You will need a scoring wheel. This is just a single scoring wheel, or you can use a scoring stylus. You will want a scraper tool of some kind. You can use a credit card, but I have the extra wide scraper tool, which is really handy. You're going to want a mat with measurements to the 1/2 inch. I'm using a self-healing mat today, but that doesn't matter. Mostly you just need to be able to measure things out. You're going to need a ruler or a straight edge to use. You will want a scoring tool of some kind. I actually have a scoring tool, a double-sided scoring tool from Fiskars. You could also use your scoring stylus if you happen to be using a scoring wheel at the time, or you could even use the tip of a pen, of the pen cap, if you want to, but you'll need something to score. You need wax paper, just plain old wax paper, some tape. You can use washi tape if you want to, but today I'm just using regular Scotch tape. And you're going to need some battery operated tea lights. Make sure you're using battery operated lights for safety. You also will need some scissors to cut by hand.
So once you've downloaded the file and unzipped it, you're going to see lots of different files in here. So what we have is the instructions are right there at the beginning, and they have links to the video tutorial here and also to the blog post, which has a printable copy of the tutorial in it. So you have all the information there. There are also PNG copies of each of the lanterns in both red and blue. So you see the 4 blue here, and then down here are the 4 red lanterns. All 4 lanterns in both blue and red are also available in a PDF copy right here. And we've also got an outline copy that is in black and white, so that if you would like to try and cut these by hand with a craft knife, then you could print it out on cardstock of your choice and your preference and just cut along the black lines that are indicated. But this was really designed for cutting with the machine. So what we're actually going to use is this SVG file right here. It's got all 4 lanterns in one file. So let's head over to Cricut Design Space and I'll show you how to use this. All right, so I am in a new project in Cricut Design Space, and I'm going to upload and insert the SVG file into my new project. So we're going to go click on Upload, Upload Image, Browse, and then we're going to choose the SVG file. You could, if you wanted to, if you don't have blue and red cardstock at home, you could also upload the PNG files as print then cut files. There's a little bit of cleanup you'd have to do with getting rid of the lettering at the bottom of the page, but otherwise you could very easily do that as well if you don't have the supplies on hand. But let's go ahead and we're going to use the SVG file today. So we're going to click on this SVG file right here, open, and you see all 4 lanterns are here, and it's got the red lines which indicate the score lines. You can change the name if you want to or add tags, totally up to you. All right, and then we're going to click the file and insert images. This is a pretty simple project right from the get-go. I'm going to zoom out here so you can see everything. There we go, 50% looks good. And I'm going to have to go ahead and ungroup everything so that I can fix the score lines. And let's go through that now. So you see, even after ungrouping, there's still smaller groups within that. And those are each the score lines and the basic design for each lantern. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the top layer in there, and you'll see it's indicated by this red here. And all you do is you're going to take that under operation and you're going to change it to score. I'm going to do that for every one of these. The last thing we need to do is we need to select each of the lantern and its score lines separately and then click attach. Now that those are attached, I just want to make sure I mention that this is also a good time to go ahead and if you want to change the colors of your lanterns so that you make sure they are on different mats, then that's fine. Then this is the time to do that. Now I know I like to keep the stars. I like to keep the stars on blue paper, so I'm going to change this one that I refer to as the stars and bars. I'm going to change that one to red. And then I'm going to change the fireworks to red. One more thing I want to make sure you know is in my tests, occasionally you see it happen here. Everything was designed in the same way, but if you want to use letter size paper and you don't want to use a full 12 by 12 sheet, just make sure you double check the height and that it is only 8 inches tall. I am actually using 12 by 12 cardstock today because that's what I have, but these are small enough that you could use 8.5 by 11 inch letter size paper, which is, I know, a lot easier to find than cardstock, and it's less expensive, so save some money if you want to. All right, let's go ahead and click Make It. And now you see everything is sorted by its color and mat. We see that the score lines are attached to the cardstock on the mat, and everything looks good and ready to go. So let's click Continue. Now with this design, it is important to make sure that you choose the right cardstock and the right pressure for your material. If you're using a medium or heavyweight cardstock, you'll probably want to go ahead and choose something a little bit different. Most of my cardstock works fine with the light cardstock chosen. But today, let's go ahead with cardstock for intricate cuts because some of these do get really delicate. I am going to use the single scoring wheel this time. Sometimes I go ahead and edit tools and change it to the scoring stylus, but I do want that nice deep crease for these so that I get a good square shape. So we're going to go ahead and load the scoring wheel into clamp B, and we're going to go ahead and cut this out. While your machine is cutting out the designs, let's go ahead and cut the wax paper for the inside of your lanterns. This is going to be fairly simple. We're just going to pull the wax paper out and place it on our mat. I am going to line up the wax paper along the corner line, so along the edge here.
and along the straight edge here. Now, if you don't have a nice straight edge on your wax paper, you may want to create a little bit of an overhang and score a line here as well. But since I already used scissors last time I used my wax paper, it's looking pretty good. I have some washi tape here, so I'm going to go ahead and use that to hold my paper in place. So we need to measure 6.5 inches down. And then I'm going to take my scoring tool and I am going to use the fatter head. So if you look, it's got a skinny side and a fat side. And I'm going to use the fatter side today. And then just press down. Ooh. You'll see, stay along your ruler. And there you go. Now you have a score line, a rough score line. Now we're going to go ahead and do the vertical axis. And this time you're going to measure 2 inches over from your side. And just score 2 inches. And then over to 4 inches. And then to 6 inches. And then to 8 inches. And now we're just going to cut right along those score lines. And now we have our window panes for each side of our lantern. So our design is all cut out. You can see everything is cut all along here. And then if you also look closely, you can see that the scoring wheel did a good job of putting a nice deep score in there. So let's go ahead and unload this. So we're going to flip everything over and unload our mat. Now I can see some of the little fireworks are trying to stick to the mat. So I'm going to go ahead and use my scraper tool to get in here and kind of keep them on my paper. Now if I lose one or two, that's fine. Right? We're not looking always for perfection. Okay, there we go. Okay, now looking closely again, you'll see there are still some pieces that are stuck, and that's where the weeding tool is going to come into play. All I'm going to do is just gently press down with the weeding tool and pop those pieces out. Now you don't need to have a weeding tool specifically. You could use a straight pin or even possibly that scoring tool that we used earlier. You'll just need something to press down where the blade didn't get all the little pieces. Now that we have all the little bits pushed out of our design, you can see it still looks good. Even though we're missing a little bit of the firework here, it's really hard to tell. It's not a big deal. So don't panic if anything like that happens. Don't worry, it's fine. But now it's time to add our little windows that we cut earlier. So I find it's easiest if you place the wax paper so that the curl goes toward the paper. Right? And then you just line it up so that it covers all of the open areas. And then tape it down. So our little window panes are taped on. That was easy. And now I'm going to rotate this a little bit, and I'm going to grab my ruler again. Now I'm going to line up my ruler along one of those scoring lines, and then I'm going to use that to really make a nice crease. All right, once you've used the ruler, we're going to go back and make that crease even deeper. Now, we're almost done. All we need now is to take a little bit more tape. We're going to put it on the underside here of one of the open edges. And I'm going to crease the tape a little bit right along the edge of the paper. I'm going to line up the corners of the paper as best I can. It's not really that important, but and then there you go. I'm going to add a little bit more tape all along the inside here. There you go. Your lantern's ready to go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take tea light, turn it on, and all you do is place it over top.